Well, that threat by President Trump appears to be a pronounced reversal of what he said just 10 days ago about Canada's trade agreement with China. Here's what he told reporters on January 16th.
Well, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
Canadian investor Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful, or Milton Rockwell, the star of Marty Supreme, is here. I can't wait to ask you about that role you just played. Kevin, which President Trump do you think is right? The one where he said that Canada did a good thing by signing a deal with China, or the President Trump who's clearly infuriated by it now and says he's going to slap 100% tariffs on Canada?
To understand exactly where we are at this moment, you have to go back about 12 months and understand what occurred. In a very short period of time, let's go back to the pre-inauguration days, the dinners that Trump was having in Mar-a-Lago. Back then, it was Trudeau, the idiot king, along with a woman named Christina Freeland, who Trump did not like from his first administration. That's when the barbs about buying Canada started. However, the idiot king was kicked out by his own parliament, and the new prime minister, Carney, that we're talking about, fired Freeland, which was a great signal to the administration in Washington. Really good outcome. Now the tiff begins. But Liz, I'm a numbers guy, and so are you, numbers woman. You look at the data. So let's look at the data in the last 11 months since Carney came in and this tiff started with Trump. Here's the data. The entire index of Canada, the stock market itself, went up 34% after 10 years of economic coma with the idiot king, just in the last 11 months, while this tiff was going on with Trump and with Carney. The Canadian dollar rose an additional 5.4%. Now, the S&P, I invest in both, is only up 14%. You've made 40% going long for one reason. You've made 40% in Canada because the whole world believes it's a giant negotiation. Everybody knows Trump is a transactional person. He likes personal relationships to get deals done. Carney has something Trump needs. And by the way, Trump has something Carney needs. 70% of all output of Canada goes to 26 states. They're the biggest trading partners, Canada. And for those states, Canada is their biggest trading partner. We're in love that way financially. But there's one little hook that happened in the last 48 hours that is the tell. When Trump announced the Greenland deal, or pending, and the missile system there, that's going to be the missile system on the west side.
Right.
East side is going to be, of course, Alaska. The hole in the middle is Canada. He has to get a deal done to get that dome. That's where we're at, and that's why the market loves this two guys squawking each other. They're kissing cousins soon.
Canada's the top export destination for 36 different U.S. states. It's not as if it's a one-way relationship where Canada only needs the U.S. The U.S. does need Canada. So if you had to say who is in the pole position here, who's got the upper hand at the moment, is it Canada? Because they just struck this deal with China. We can show you some of the points of this deal. Some of it involved the electric vehicles. For example, access to China for the canola seed exports annually in exchange for access for 49,000 electric vehicles per year at 6.1% most favored nation rate. There's all kinds of other stuff. It is not a free trade deal. That's what Canada says. But it was enough that initially Trump actually praised it and said, you know what, he should be doing that kind of thing, especially considering, you know, there's tension between us, et cetera. And now suddenly it's, you better not, 100% tariffs.
Well, Liz, the facts are this. Since 2020, when China came into the WTO, they have screwed every single business partner they've ever had, everywhere, every time, all around the world. Canada will be no exception. China is not your friend. China is the economic and military and AI enemy to both Canada and the United States. That's the truth. You can have all the politics you want, but the enemy is China. So the outcome is...
But, you know, the U.S. is striking deals with China, too, when it comes to farm exports.
In the end, the only way this works to keep China at bay is the stick, is economic might. And how does that happen? All of the resources Canada has is exactly what the United States, the largest market on earth, needs. By the time this whole thing is over, this is what it looks like. I don't know how long it takes, how many years it takes, whatever. no tariffs between these two countries because they have a ubiquitous border, some kind of an EU relationship. We're not selling any sovereignty here, but you do this for one single reason, so that on a combined entity, you tell the Chinese we're going to spend 5% of our combined GDP on just enforcement and deterrent and technology, that if you ever mess with us, you will lose. And they will understand that the economy will be so huge, because this idea Carney has of stitching together tiny little nations to offset what he's going to lose with Canada, everybody knows that's not going to work. We have to get this together.